conversation topics.
All right. Welcome back, everybody who is watching and subscribing now. Thank you. And we're just going to continue on how Joe trains like a madman and is crushing it.
No, I mean, I don't. To me, I feel like I don't train incredibly hard. I'm relatively low volume. I train only every other day. It's like 6 exercises per day for 2 sets. But really, the big thing is those 2 sets are as hard as I can make them. It's the controlled negatives, it's the pauses in the hole, it's taking it to where I'm actually not just, oh, I think that was the last one I can do. It's okay, I'm doing exercises I can safely fail in. Like my incline dumbbell press, I know I'm safe to be able to dump those in front of me. On a hack squat, if I get stuck in the bottom, I can push up by myself, or I can just kind of wiggle out of the bottom. So I think that really is kind of an underrated thing is knowing how to safely fail a lift, because if you know you're going to be safe when you hit failure, your brain doesn't tell you, okay, don't do that last rep. It knows, okay, even on a squat, if you want to dump it off your back, you're going to be more comfortable pushing those kind of edge reps that really inspire growth, in my opinion. Because I know it's popular to say, oh, just add more volume. You don't need to have those real hard failures. That's, you don't need the intensifiers, but maybe I'm just impatient, but I don't want to be doing 25 sets a workout. I don't want to just like, okay, I'll get close to failure and then I'll just do 3 sets instead of two on the exercise. I want those two to be as good as I can make them.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I'm a little bit different. I am a little bit of I enjoy volume. Yeah, yeah, for sure. But my sets are pretty damn close. Each last set is always a failure set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the preceding sets are damn near close. One maybe two. Yeah, reps in. So they're all yeah, very close. Yeah, to where I think failure is. And I also like to do pre-activation sets. So I will do, a weight where a higher, weight amount than my working weight for 3 or 4 reps. And I do find that, that makes a difference if, neurologically. It does set me up, for, the grinder set, that's, to come. Where I find that if I don't do a pre-activation set, that first set, is pretty grindy. Yeah, and whereas if I do, the pre-activation set, at least the first few reps don't feel as grindy. Yeah, I can just get into that groove, and then, go to the target, range that I need to, or I want to for the session.
I've played with them. I'm not sure if they're called like potentiation sets or activation sets, like you would call them, where you do that higher weight for just a few reps.
Yeah.
And I like it for something like a leg extension, where it's really to stabilize the movement. For that in particular, it's because I get
Mm.
a lot of knee pain with most leg extensions. And so if I get kind of the heavier weight, I expose the knees to that load. So I know, okay, the next set, it's not going to hurt any more than that, and I can deal with it.
Yeah. Knock on wood.
But
Yeah.
in something more like a dumbbell incline, it takes so much energy to get those dumbbells into place for that potentiation set.
Yeah.
I think it would be more significantly affecting all the rest of them if it's not like a machine where it's super braced.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Dumbbells. Yeah. Yeah. Would be a little bit more challenging. Yeah. To go, heavier if you don't have a partner, to help you out, to get up
And
there.
especially
But
because my gym, the dumbbells are super long. So it's a pain in the butt to get them into position, but I'm just complaining at this point. But I do like that potentiation set.
yeah, I will not do legs without that first set being a potential. Yeah. So my hack, sets, my pendulums. I don't do free bar squats. Yeah, I will do hacks instead. I just don't like loading my spine with the free bar, and don't have any knee pain doing hacks or pendulums and leg presses. So I stick with those exercises, the meat and potatoes, for the most part.
No, I do agree that the meat and potato exercises are like kind of the extensions. I've really been liking pendulum squat recently. One thing I really made a big difference is I'm a very tall individual. I'm like about 6'2". So the pendulum, it helps a lot with getting that nice heavy quad stimulus at the top. And I even overload on that because I band it up from the bottom. So it's stretching as it goes up and it makes it extremely hard at the top.
Yeah.
So at the bottom where I struggle to kind of get the power out of the hole, it's a little bit lighter versus getting more towards the lockout. It's just incredibly hard.
Yeah, I'm with you. The last couple of blocks, I really hit a good groove with the pendulum. Yeah, feel like I've got the right foot set up and feel within in a very good place with the pendulum. So that and what I'm calling the midget hack squat machine, which is the Cybex, the good old Cybex
Oh,
Love
hack
it.
squat.
oh yeah, I love that one. That's my
I
favorite.
have found that I'm just in a groove with those machines and just really enjoying my lifting sessions. Although they're trust me, I I my days on leg days, I have a degree of anxiety. Yeah, because the amount of weight that I know has to be pushed. Yeah, and I don't shy away from it. But just feeding that it's like, oh man, I gotta go and get after it. It does give me a little bit of pause. But once I start hitting the after the first set, we're in the groove.
Yeah, I think once you get warmed up and you're like, okay, today's gonna be a good day, that anxiety goes away. That's at least for me.
Oh yeah,
It's just getting in there first. I'm like, man, like is everything gonna feel all right? And is my machine gonna be open? Because that's another anxiety, like with the busy
oh
gym,
yeah,
is like,
yeah,
man, if you screw something up where I can rotate certain machines at a time, but if you're on there with a cell phone or something, like I am interrupting you and I'm getting on there.
yeah,
But yeah, the
yeah,
Cybex, man, the Cybex hack, the Cybex squat press, and the Cybex pendulum. I, I, dude, if Destination Dallas will sell theirs, I will buy them. Like I love them, and they're so hard to find.
The only
yeah.
thing I don't like about the Cybex leg press, kind of where it's kind of like laying down in it, it takes so many plates.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sorry,
it
it's a
does.
squat press I'm talking about. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's been a while since I ran it, but I think I was up to like 9 plates a
It-
side plus a band.
it-
It was like
yeah.
it's cardio at this point carrying all the plates over.
Yeah, you gotta get the micro like plates or the thin plates, the eco plates or whatever. But
The eco, yeah.
you like it's just it feels so good getting your adductors like with a wider stance, like you can pivot your feet out and really get
yeah,
deep in there. Because I'm not the biggest fan of um the Arsenal one where it's such a, I don't like the huge platforms unless it's like a Rogers. Like if I'm doing something at a different angle, but like if it's a huge platform coming down on me, it, like they're actually easier to do in my opinion versus things that have more narrow stance. Because if the narrow stance, because I did legs today, and so like keeping your feet closer together and just like really getting your quads close to your stomach as possible. Like I can feel my adductors going in on the movement as well as my quads, dude, and it just burns like the closer my feet. But on the other platforms that are really big, like I don't. It feels weird. Like it's meant for like a 300-pound person. I don't know. There's too much space.
No, I don't love the Arsenal one either. My
Mm.
gym, it's called I think it's like a power lift, where instead of like a 30, it's actually a true 45 degree. And it's a tall plate rather than a wide plate. So you have a lot of adjustability in there, but I really like it. The only problem is I promise my blood pressure is good. I have like a 123 over 70 in the morning. When I'm getting close to failure in it, I feel like my head's about to explode.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Um, hey, this is what I want. See this picture right here? This parallel leg
Yeah.
extension. Have any of you like done this or
I,
had seen it at a gym?
I have
I have
not.
I have not seen it. Yeah, I mean, there's no way I can get that parallel, but I do like, yeah, trying to lean back as much as possible to the point where I will even put a pad underneath, yeah, to get me, even a little bit, more straight, and then, lock the kickstand, the kick out,
Hmm.
as deep as possible, to get that, stretch,
Yeah,
in
get your
there.
heels as close to your butt. Like, oh man, it feels so
Yeah,
good. I took
it
someone
does.
through a leg workout, and the dude was like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah. Yeah, we have the Arsenal leg press and an Arsenal hack squat. That one, the hack squat lays back more than the side backs. Yeah, so it's yeah, yeah, a little bit easier because I think, yeah, because of the angle that it is. But
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
platform on the leg press, it's an isometric, platform, so you can, do it. Um, um, one leg at a time if you want to.
yeah, the
Yeah,
unilateral one. Yeah.
yeah, unilateral. Yeah, not isometric. But yeah, that one is that one is a heavy beast, coming at you. And I actually have to put bands on the back seat so I don't feel like I'm gonna be launched, out of the seat. The way they've, built their seats, and the material that they use is just, too slick. So it just gets in my head that I'm slipping and can't, focus. So have to wind up putting, bands on there, to lock me, more in place. But
But
speaking of bands,
I was gonna say, you're
how do
the
we?
guy just carrying bands and putting them all over the seats and benches. You're that guy.
Yeah, just for that one exercise, I am. Yeah,
Just to grip you.
you just, to give it, the
Yeah.
grip. But speaking of
I used to do
bands,
that
so
powerlifting. Yeah.
how do we feel about reverse banding? People doing reverse banding exercises.
It's not for everybody.
I think I'm sure some people are actually using it right. To me, when you're reverse banding in particular, it seems like you're trying to just get an excuse to load up more plates. So you can say, oh, I hack squatted 6 plates instead of four because you have the reverse band on.
Yeah,
To me, it makes more sense to put the band on regularly because it's going to do the same thing. It's going to make it harder at the top and easier at the bottom, but you don't have to carry over as many plates.
yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah, it's partially ego, but I guess, my philosophy is, get strong. Yeah, and it doesn't matter, what the weight is. Get strong at each, portion of your range of motion. Yeah, that's acceptable for you. You don't need help. Just get strong down there. Drop the weight, and work to get strong, at, your sticking points. Yeah, and
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the person who I would always go to advice, and you can look up their YouTube videos, is John Meadows. I think he shows you an applicable time that would help with your training. But like I do, all I hear from people is like, "Oh, well, it takes the strain off of my knees." Well, you got other problems. So I think this isn't helping you. The load itself is still shearing your knee. So this isn't really solving that problem. As
yeah,
far as like a background in orthopedics, like you want to continue to load the knee in full range of motion because that's going to try to tell your body to create synovial fluid and keep the condyles of your joints intact and kind of like regrow them and stimulate more stem cells naturally. When you stop doing that, then that's whenever you start getting knee pain. So probably training with lower range of motion, like less range of motion with heavy weights, probably destroyed their knees in the first place. But the whole point of like a hack squat reverse banded, I mean, that's the majority that I see. I mean, just keep the tension on the muscle that you go all the way down. Don't release it when you get down to the bottom and then squeeze it back coming up. And so, yeah, the reverse band, I don't see it. I like bands, reverse bands and such in a strength and conditioning specialist situation towards sports specificity. We use them a lot with football players, but not bodybuilders.
Yeah, not for, yeah, for hypertrophy, yeah, specific training,
Yeah.
yeah, at all.
I will say, as someone who does struggle with knee pain at times, I do need to use kind of knee sleeves on my pretty much any kind of quad movement. But
Yeah.
what's really helped a lot, where I don't need to be reverse banding stuff, is when you're down in the hole, take a second, keep the tension on the muscle, but fully stop it. Don't let it kind of get that stretch reflex where you're
Hmm.
going down, like releasing tension and then reactivating it. Because when it's reactivating there, that's when it's kind of getting the most shearing force. That's when it's all on the
Hmm.
tendon instead of on the muscle. So
Yeah.
yes, I'll admit I'm not the greatest about stretching. I do need to be better about that, and that does help as well when I am consistent with it. But even just kind of having that pause in the hole and dropping the ego and not using as much weight so that I can actually pause it in the bottom, it has made a huge difference in my knee pain. Because if I kind
Yeah.
of
I
just like
mean,
grip and rip and try and bounce out of the hole, that's when it feels okay for that one set. Once I
mhm.
get off and I'm trying to do a second set, it does not feel good.
Yeah. And I'm not a knees over toe guy as crazy as whatever is that Brad Schoenfield or I don't whatever that guy is. I'm not that crazy, but I do like my knees to travel over my toes a little bit, just with lighter loads, and then kind of readjust my foot placement. But I mean, I guess I should video myself in the gym more often. But yeah, like I slow and controlled, never stop, keeping that the tension and load on the knee without the bouncing movement. I mean, that's what's really going to help your knees keep up and not feel so bad. I mean, it's kind of the same idea whenever we do stair mill, right? Like there's way less pressure per square inch on your knees when doing walking upstairs, but walking downstairs, it's like four
Hate that.
times the load. So, I mean, I've had athletes where they're like, I got to do my cardio. I'm going to do my, like, walk my stairs in my apartment. And I'm like, no. So,
Uh,
but,
that's,
but I mean,
I'm lucky and I feel very grateful. I haven't had to do stairs in quite a few years. I think last
yeah.
time was like 2019. I've been able to get by with just bike and walking since then. But even just like going down my apartment stairs, that's a rough time when you're 280. It's like, okay, jolt, jolt, jolt. You're holding on to the handrail the entire way down. It's not a good look, but
Yeah. Yeah. And like, you're a heavy dude. And so whether it's muscle or fat, I mean, you're still heavy and that's really, going to wear and tear on your joints. From your pictures, you don't look like a small jointed person though. You look like you have a little bit bigger. You're not like Keon Pearson small jointed.
oh no.
Yeah. So like that definitely helps you as far as like the longevity in the sport, I think.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah.
And I
Which
mean, my elbows all feel good. My shoulder feels amazing, which very few bodybuilders have. The only kind of real issue is my knees, and the big part of that's because I'm bad about stretching them. I'm getting better,
Yeah.
but I am bad about that.
Joe, what's your preferred mode of cardio? And I'm assuming you're doing daily cardio.
I do I do
Repeat.
cardio every day, but leg day, so it's all my rest days and upper body days. You can't see it because it's blurred out, but I use just like a spin bike,
Okay.
and it's easy for me to get up to like 130 beats a minute, just kind of chilling, watching Netflix or something in the morning. So it's convenient because you can get a spin bike for $200 on Amazon, or get a little bit better ones like Costco or Facebook Marketplace. So it fits in the apartment well. So you just kind of roll out of bed and you don't need to drive anywhere. It's very convenient and it's easy on my joints. I will say, getting heavier, it's a little bit harder to use a spin bike versus a recumbent bike, just because you wouldn't think it, but most spin bikes are rated for 250 pounds, not 275 or 300.
Oh yeah.
Really, the only ones that I've seen that go up to 300 that aren't recumbent bikes is that uh, Concept 2 Bike Erg. Those are like 1,100 bucks.
Man.
Yeah,
So the one I
that's
have
what I
now, it's
H-
like,
use. I
How do
use
you
that
deal
at
with those,
my D1.
those little seats, man, up your butt, for
that's a little bit rough some mornings
No,
too.
you can change them. I got a larger one.
you
It's
got
like
a lot
has a
of
cushion. Yeah, you can just change it with a regular bike seat. Because my wife will use our spin bike here. So I got a spin bike here. And then I go to a D1 training facility where I do my long rides and I use the ergo bikes because it's better at tracking cadence, watts, and actual mileage.
yeah.
Um, so that's how I do my 50-mile rides.
How
I
often
don't
do you
worry
do
about
50
any of those
milers?
metrics.
Huh?
How often do you do your 50 milers?
Well, I've been doing it daily for the not today, but from Monday to Friday this past week.
Really? Cool.
At
Yeah,
like 2.5 hours.
3.5.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, some my first time I tried it was 4 hours. But it really depends on like what's my wattage throughout the entire day, and it's mimicking flatland riding, so there's no hills or anything. So I'm sure if I do hills, it'd be worse. But yeah, so usually I'm there, and so that's a question that someone asked me about my like how do I set up my intro workout, I guess. So like as far as my endurance intro workouts go for something like that, I will do 100 grams of carbs about 2 hours before my ride.
Mhm.
And then I will do 75 grams of carbs the first hour, 50 grams of carbs the second, 50 grams of carbs the third, and then 50 grams of carbs the fourth if I'm there for 4 hours. And then I do 100 grams of carbs post workout and
What types of carbs are you
all
doing?
dextrose. And
Dextrose.
then in two of my bottles that have the 50 grams, I have 5 grams of D-ribose.
Okay.
Yeah. And then my first meal, the first 100 is going to be of rice, honey, dates, maple syrup, whatever I can kind of combine. And then the
Yeah.
last 100 grams is the same thing.
Okay. Yeah. What is it? I have found uh, that I noticed D-ribose. So I like fasted, training. If I could do it, every day I would. So
Yeah.
on the, during the weekdays, I will do fasted, cardio in the morning and then, lifting, in the evening. But I changed that, during the weekends where I will train, yeah, in the morning fasted. And, my training sessions semi-fasted, I put 10 grams of D-ribose in my, pre-workout. And then I also use, a scoop of NutriBio's, leg day, as an intra, and with some extra, EAAs, and sip those, throughout. And during this, the weekend sessions, I will do, lift, whatever lifting, I have planned, and then do cardio, after. And I have
Yeah.
found that, the energy just is like nonstop, with the D-ribose and cyclic dextrin. So literally, it's a 3 hour sessions that that I'm doing on the weekends and semi-fasted. But the D-ribose does help with maintaining the energy and the slower cleaving of the cyclic dextrin. Is trickling in to also give me that energy. So I like that combination. For fasted training. Myself.
Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming, Andrew, with all those carbs, you're not doing any kind of like insulin, any kind of loading, are you?
No, I've done insulin in the past and I I go hypo. And I've
That's what I
done
was thinking.
He's
yeah,
pretty
it's
lean.
just dude, yeah,
You're
I
very
back
so you're very lean. So
back whenever I was competing with Matt Porter was my coach, we used a lot of insulin and a lot of Anavar. And he made me do fasted cardio with insulin and
Ooh,
carnitine, injectable carnitine.
that sounds
And
dangerous.
yeah,
Wow.
so like I mentioned it to Scott Stevenson, and he's like, "Yeah, that sounds like Matt Porter." And so um, I kind of got a feel for how it is, and I tried it again about 6 years ago in Florida, and I went hypo, and my wife she videoed it, so she has a video of me, and I like she was about to call 911, and she called our friend who's a chiropractor, bodybuilder guy, and he's like no, just make sure that he eats whatever, and then slamming through a box of like 2 boxes of Rice Krispies or something, and then I was just profusely sweating, tongue was swollen, delirious, sitting in the corner on the floor eating cereal. But if I, yeah, dude, like like even taking dihydroberberine, my blood sugar drops. The Retta, the same thing. Like I can feel it. I not only take a milligram of it, but every 7 days. But like I do, I've been up to 7,000 calories a day. Back in the day with little fat, and that's kind of how my diet's been for quite a bit. And I've switched to keto and stuff during cancer period. And but coming back to this, it's like I'm so sensitive to like today doing legs, like I have to have carbs on me all the times, like gummy bears and stuff in my bag. But I'm I'm
What's your
almost
daily carb
curious.
like? Yeah, yeah, carb amount. What's
Daily,
your
I mean, I
yeah?
don't track anymore, but it's roughly
Mm.
between 5 to 600 grams a day. And then on the days where I try to up my fats, if I notice like my libido's dropping, I'll up my fats and then I'll drop my carbs. They're probably around like 300 to 400. Um, but
How are you upping when you up your fats? What's your strategy for doing that? Is it just nuts or olive oil? How do you go about
salmon,
it?
salmon with skin and macadamia nut oil from Species. That's the only, dude, Species Nutrition, dude, they're
Yeah,
fiberlize and their
the
macadamia nut oil.
fiberlize. Yep, agreed.
Whatever he does, like that macadamia nut oil is not the same as other ones. And I've tried other brands and they all taste different, like plasticky.
Yeah.
This guy, and he's sold out on his website. So like I was trying to get some with the Olympia deal. But like right now I have like 8 bottles left of my 20 or 20
Yeah,
bottle order
those
the last
those two
time.
products that he has are truly standouts. So I think his whey is okay. Yeah, the other stuff I don't care about, but those two products, are standouts for sure.
Yeah, I think I spend more money on like essential fatty acids and carbohydrates. Because people in the Discord, they'll talk about pre-workouts, whey proteins, snacks, energy drinks, and I'm like, dude, the amount of money I spend on carbs, like if I bought HCBD like all the time, like I would go broke. So like I
Yep.
bought Jeff Long's whenever he discounted them, and I blew through those, but like it has the dihydroberberine in it, so I was like,
Yeah.
I had to add more dextrose in it.
So
Well,
I'm not,
speaking
yeah,
of
I'm not
speaking
a
of
fan of
fiber I'll be right back. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Okay, oh, no problem.
yeah. Speaking of DHB, I'm not a fan of DHB. I think it has its place, uh, yeah, applied properly, but by
Mhm.
and large, yeah, if you're thin or yeah, and training, and training heavy, GDAs and DHB, yeah, are overkill, yeah, in my mind,
Yeah, your
yeah, for
body's already
use.
super insulin sensitive, like it's going to use the carbs. So you're wasting, I mean, what does a good GDA cost nowadays? Like $50, right?
55, 65, yeah, dollars. Yeah. And
Yes.
most people who are training really don't need them. I mean, all of the studies, yeah, for the ingredients that, yeah, comprise a good GDA, yeah, supplement are all on obese, diabetic, people. Now, my issue with DHB particularly is that it actually has studies that shows that is antagonistic to muscle accrual. So
Yeah, I would say in a natural state, for my like natural people for sure, right? I mean, you're trying to avoid a lot of loss of mTOR production.
Yep.
Um, but enhanced people,
Yeah.
it doesn't even matter. Like people, like whenever enhanced guys are like, I can't take vitamin C after my workout. Like, yeah, you can, dude. Like you're
Yeah.
doped up on trin and test, but
Yeah. And that's the thing. There, yeah, people don't make that. Yeah, often that distinction. Naturals would be. Yeah, they need to protect their mTOR signaling. Yeah, to the extent
Mhm.
possible. Yeah. So putting in DHB on or around or any time or your training session is just nonsensical. I mean, you're kind of defeating your goals of trying to accrue tissue by putting the brakes on mTOR altogether.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that's like people.
enhanced guys are
Yeah,
their mTOR is on all the time. Your androgen
yeah,
receptor is bound by some androgen, and it's spinning out constant protein. So
y-
you guys are constantly
yeah.
anabolic state.
Yeah, and I mean we have a lot more prostaglandin release. So like as far as like reducing inflammation, it's like if you're on gear, you can take ibuprofen and be fine growing muscle. But if you're
Yeah,
natural, you shouldn't be taking ibuprofen around your workouts. But also like with the GDAs, like berberine, dihydroberberine, it's still an antiseptic. So like what I find is that I've tried them before, and like with Chemix, the GDA, and it's to me it causes diarrhea, and
Oh
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, well, then that's the only reason why I can eat more food. It feels like it's going into the muscle. I think that's what sometimes happens is people think that like Emodin, it's like,
yeah,
yeah, it reduces cortisol, but dude, it will make you go to the bathroom. And I warn people about it if they take too much. But like having that empty stomach does make you want to eat more. And so you feel like maybe your body was a sponge and absorbed it, where I'm like look in the toilet. Like I always look in the toilet. What am I like? What came out? How did it come out? And that's how I determine what's going on in my colon.
yeah.
No, I'm not that specific, but I can. I mean, I take berberine on a semi-frequent basis, and
Straight
I
berberine
know
or DHB.
straight berberine, and I know
Yeah,
like if I'm traveling, if I'm out like running errands, I cannot take it because I will be taking a shit within about 15 minutes of taking it.
so yeah, you're
Hey
taking it
man,
what about 1500 when you take it, Joey?
I would take like 500 per meal, so like
Okay.
about 3 times a day.
Yeah, so
Either that's like
1500.
the
Yeah.
1500 split over the day, or just a gram AM and PM. And either way, I know I'm taking a shit pretty quickly after that time I'm taking it.
Yeah.
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 Whenever I have people using berberine HCl, I try to get them to find sodium caparate somewhere on the internet to take with it, just to help with the absorption of it. Because all I know is I think um, Justin Harris, his company has sodium caparate, and High Tech Pharmaceutical, their berberine has sodium
Yeah.
caparate in it.
Yeah.
And those are the only two that I find with it, which kind of baffles me as
Now,
far
for
as
the
it's like,
right application, yeah, for naturals, by all means, DHP is awesome. Yeah. For the
mm,
right application. If you are trying to manage, glucose, glucose levels and you're pre-diabetic, by all means, yeah, it's going to be highly effective. Yeah. And yeah, putting you on a better path with glucose management. But if you're trying to build muscle and you're a natural, be careful. Yeah, I would avoid it, especially if you're lean. You don't need it. You don't need any GDA. Yeah, actually, if you're lean and training hard.
No, I mean, just like on the subject of insulin sensitivity, I was talking with a buddy of mine recently, and he was recently doing a pretty like severe diet, just to see like how far can I push it in like 28 days. I think he lost like 20 pounds, but his A1C was like a 4.6,
Oh, wow. That's very low.
which means like he's got like hypo all the time. But it's like, yeah, like, since you taking Redos, like he was like,
so,
nah, I'd see like a 40 and feel fine.
well,
So
I
it's
mean,
like,
that's he must have been low before because that's 120 days worth of average, right? So,
I mean, he is a
yeah.
pretty low carb guy in general. Like he doesn't do a whole lot of rice. He does more kind of like fruits and more that natural kind of carbs rather than starchy carbs. But I mean, still, just that he was kind of
Yeah.
going hypo and not even really feeling it. That was strange
Oh,
to
that's
me.
crazy. So he can go, yeah. When do you start feeling hypo? Like what, like have you ever taken your blood sugar just to be like, hey, like I feel kind of weird? Like I feel mine around 40.
That's about where I feel. I feel like between 40 and 50, since I've kind of just you'd be like, okay, I could like, oh, I'm going hypo. I should probably eat something, but I checked it recently, and about when I kind of start getting the sweats, which is when I kind of, oh, hey, I'm kind of feeling out of it. I'm having the sweats. That's a hypo. I tested. It was like a 46. It's like, oh,
Dang.
should probably eat a meal, but it wasn't like I was in a huge rush to do it. But that was happening during my last diet on a relatively frequent basis because I would work out and it would be in the afternoon. I would take some Humalog post workout, but then cover it. It was like 8 units of Humalog, and then I would take 100 grams of carbs on a shake in the drive home, plus 150 carbs when I got home. But then just like taking a walk in between that meal and my next one, I'd be going hypo.
Oh, wow. Pretty,
Uh,
pretty efficient, but you're also taking Humalog. That's
yeah. So I mean,
expediting things.
that definitely that does cause more hypos, but like, even when I was kind of natural, that's about where I felt it is between the 40 and the 50. There was actually a stretch of time in college when I was dieting really hard just because I was a fat piece of crap in high school. And so I
That's
was
hard to
dieting pretty hard
believe.
and I was fat. I played offensive line, not because I was strong, but because I couldn't run.
Nice. Nice.
But during that diet, I was putting like I was in the hospital for a different reason, and my glucose wouldn't get above like a 50 no matter what. Like they had me
Oh,
kind of like a dextrose strip, and it wouldn't go over 50.
Hmm.
D10 drips.
Man, yeah, that's scary. To have someone, a patient like that.
No,
It's the same
it
thing
was a
whenever,
whole ordeal.
yeah. I think I remember Mark Bell telling a story that happened maybe a couple of years ago where he went hypo, or no, he had super high blood sugar or something, and they thought he was going hypo, and he like had to go to a Starbucks and like he was running and he had to stop at a Starbucks and he like almost passed out in the bathroom or something, and the EMTs were going to give him like glucose, and then they checked his blood sugar, or I think he said something like, no, 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 I feel like I have really high blood sugar, and like so if they would have given him the glucose because I think his blood sugar was like 300s or 400s, like something high. But what he did was he took sodium. What did he do? No, he took carbs, sodium, and because the LMNT, he took some carbs, and then he took BHB, the Go BHB.
Oh,
But
really?
I
Ketones.
don't know
Okay.
how much. Yeah, so he took the ketones, but all those together with the long endurance run, because you know how he's gone to like this crazy kind of jumping around to different training styles. And I, ever since then, you know, I see people making posts about uh, ketones coming back to the supplement industry and it's going to be
Yeah,
bigger than
BHB.
creatine and stuff. And I just wonder, like, why did that happen to him at such like an endurance sport of like his running and stuff? Like, I don't know, he just drove himself to the ground and his cortisol spiked so high because he's training like a
That's
madman.
that's all I can think of because I mean I'm not an endurance athlete anymore, but from when I was, that wasn't that people who did a hard endurance effort on one day, the next morning their blood sugar would be crazy high. So they thought
Mhm.
they were going diabetic, but it was just from the stress of those long endurance runs.
Yeah, my morning fasted is about 95 now, and it used to be 60 something. Like, but with this training, which is really odd, but I'm still super insulin sensitive and it drops after I eat food whenever I wake up. So
I'm the same way. I'm ranging anywhere from like 85 to 92. Yeah, fast in morning.
That's
Yeah,
about where I am
glucose.
too, but that's partially because I'm taking some Lantus at night. That helps with that.
Yeah, by my AC, A1C, whatever, it's 5.
That's pretty good.
that's good.
I did
I think
actually
my
want to ask the experts a question on something to do with A1C and everything.
Shoot.
So I recently had a blood work test on Monday, and my A1C came back at like a 5.4. So not
Okay.
horrible, a little bit high, but not horrible.
Borderline.
Mm. Usually, I think like pre-diabetic is like 5.6 or 5.7, depending on the
Yeah,
lab.
5'6". Yeah.
So kind of getting up there, but still within range. But so it was a kind of normal range. And even that's with a good amount of insulin use with my GH. What I've read is because you're taking the insulin, that doesn't necessarily help your insulin sensitivity. If you are becoming, if you are losing an insulin sensitivity, isn't normal your triglycerides going up too? Because my triglycerides were like a 74, so kind of under, like not under range, but on the low side. So would that indicate that I'm still in an insulin sensitive state, even with all the exogenous use I have to take? Or am I
what's your
just,
fasted what's your fasted insulin?
I take Lantus in the evening and I think like 35 units. And so my AM, I would assume that was going to be in the system, but it came back at like a 8.9 or a 9.1 or something.
It should be close. It should be under five, right?
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
Even
it should be
with
as close
insulin
to
use in the
zero as
evening.
yeah, it should be close to zero as possible. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like because
How
Atlantis is meant to mimic something natural in the body. It's kind of like these GLPs, right? Like it's not meant to be taking microdosing like every single day. Like it's meant to be like dosed bolusly after meals and such.
Mm.
Um but yeah, like the Atlantis it should keep it still at normal if you are needing it. And you bodybuilders are different, right? So with the amount of food that you eat, the stress of your pancreas, your fasting insulin, probably if it gets to five, I bet your A1C would go down. Um,
Okay.
I would say you could also look at like restructuring food groups or like meal timing is another thing which won't happen with bodybuilders. So what I try to do is I change the food groups of like when they're eating foods and such. So like at nighttime, no starches, and I just
Well,
focus
I
on
have a lot of
fruits.
starch at night.
Yeah, so no starches at night and focus on fruits only at night.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense. I wasn't trying to get a full consultation out of you. I was kind of curious because I'd always
So
read
that's
that if you're
$100, by the way.
fair enough, I'll
A-
Venmo you. But no,
Andrew,
I
Andrew,
had
how,
read
how
that sorry, insulin sensitivity, if you would be kind of losing it, then your triglycerides would be high. So I was kind of hoping like, oh, if my triglycerides are fine, does that mean I'm in the clear? But no, I'm still a fat piece of crap. So we're all
Yeah,
good.
it's because I mean the
well,
the triglycerides are not always going to reflect that. I mean,
Okay.
that's just free circulating at a given period of time too. Like our cholesterol is not always going it's still a picture. So it's never going to be the same. Like
Mm.
you can take like especially whatever meal you had the night before. But the Lantus is helping clearing out the triglycerides with whatever meal you had. So that's helping keep the triglycerides like a little bit lower. Like that'll help clear it out and use the sugars. Because if your triglycerides are high, then you have sugars within your blood that are just not being utilized.
Okay.
Yeah.
Andrew, yeah, how would you fold in use of GH into the calculus of his markers?
I mean, everyone's so different. That's the like you'd have to kind of find your upper limit, which I don't really I don't deal with people with high GH. And so whenever people start going over eight like to 10 IUs, I refer them out to somebody else because that's not I don't I don't know too much about that, about high doses. But the lower doses, I mean, I don't see that big of an issue with lower doses to where
Yeah,
people
two
really
to
need to.
four units shouldn't be
e-
negligible, if
e-
any, right? Yeah.
even eight. So like if it's eight, usually I just do like six. If they want to take it pre-workout or post-workout, then we'll do two IUs pre or post, and then the rest of the six before bed. But but the insulin use, it would be just more for the food because you're using like you're eating so much food and then you're trying to make up the space with the exogenous insulin rather than a lot of people where they screw up is they put the exogenous insulin in and then they try to make up with food, which you're gonna
Mm.
That's
lose that
recipe to get
race.
fat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you got to titrate the insulin to your food.
Yeah, and so when you are using all these together, and if you are the other problem is like dieting. So if you're dieting and you're taking insulin and you're taking GH, you may see a higher blood sugar or higher
Yeah.
A1C because of
Yes.
this cortisol. Like this
Yes.
cortisol dumps are just like it's to the point to where I tell people, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to refer you to Austin Stout or Chris Tuttle. Hopefully they have room and time to help you because in my opinion, those are the two that I really like. And same thing with GI mapping. Like those are the only two guys I refer people to. But like whenever it gets to where someone's in contest prep, like I don't deal with bodybuilders anymore, but because protocols and drugs and such, they're getting they're, it's too hard for me to like to research all that stuff, and I don't use any of it so anymore. So I don't know how I don't have any data, empirical data. So but like the cortisol effects will screw up your numbers to where now it looks like it's like a false negative or a false positive, and that's whether cortisol is too high or too low. Um, and so I mean, the biggest thing that I try to fix is nutrition meals, since you can't like the food type really is where I try to focus on, and usually that clears things up with changing food types and where you have your fats and stuff because you can have your high fat meals at night before you go to bed, and then you go and you take your blood test in the morning fasted, and your lipids are high, like they're going to read back high. I mean,
Yeah, that's one thing I want to do better myself. So not necessarily on the lipids, and it's a little bit of a digression, but my last meal, yeah, it's like my largest meal, and it's invariably around 11:30, and I go, crash out.
yeah, and usually that happens, and you'll have like you'll start some people they start sweating at night, and that's the drop of like your drop of blood sugar. Your body's trying to wake you up and such to go get some food,
To eat. Yeah.
or yeah, I mean, um, yeah, or the dawn
That
effect.
habit,
For
yeah, that
uh,
habit just started for me when I was dieting, because it helps with sleeping. Yeah, but yeah, it's carrying over. Yeah, as a now I think bad habits need to do a little bit better on my timing because I am a stickler about the protein spikes or the MPS spikes, and trying to create those windows for me.
yeah,
So I try to avoid that. I guess what do they call it? There's anabolic. Yeah,
Catabolic?
no, being refractory.
Okay.
yeah,
So yeah, yeah. So basically, what happens is, when you spike your MPS, you're eating more protein isn't going to do it, shit anymore, to your MPS for the next 2 to 3 hours, right? So the MPS signal needs to come back down, and it takes about 3 to 4 hours before you can turn that signal on again. Not that protein isn't being used, but specific, the MPS signaling itself has a period of refractoriness, and that is 3 to 4 hours. So, spacing meals, every 3 to 4 hours, specifically for a natural, should try to emulate that rhythmical pattern and not just focus on total daily protein amount like all the rhetoric that is on the internet right now. If your goal is to put on muscle and manage the muscle building process, you need to space your meals out 3 to 4 hours.
yeah,
So what I'm hearing from both of you is I shouldn't be eating muffins at night.
yeah,
That's what I'm getting from this.
Maybe
yeah.
pre-workout is a good idea for that muffin.
Yeah, I mean, I would, so like what I would do is I would play around with it. It's like, let's say someone goes to bed at 10 p.m. Like I would have your starch, like your muffin at like 8, and let's see what happens. And then, or 7, or 6 and kind of fall back and see what happens as far as like how you sleep during the night and then how you wake up. But I just find that fruits in general for they help you fall asleep a little bit better, right? But it also can help with the to restore glycogen in the liver as well. But
Yep.
also gives that fiber, so now it helps with blood sugar control, especially if on insulin, basal insulin. Because even
Yep.
on basal insulin, your body's still going to manipulate it in a way. It'll use it. So um, because it's just present, but that doesn't mean that it's always going to be baseline. It could go up or it could go down, which is why I'm just whenever people use exogenous insulin, that's why doctors and a lot of people don't understand it. Even when they're type 1 diabetics, doctors don't understand it and they have to be on a continuous pump, right? If they understood it, then they would be able to have a type 1 diabetic without a continuous pump. Um, because they would know how to feel when they needed insulin. But
Just for
um,
just for contrast, yeah, my last meal, yeah, also has fruit, in it. Yeah, it's usually a big bowl of blueberries. So
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
usually like whatever people want, but like honey is another one. I don't know. Honey is a weird carbohydrate. It's like, isn't it? It's like 4 different types of carbs or something, or 5 different types of carbohydrate
yeah,
uh, strands. Or
complex. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know what it is. But and then some type of protein, and and then if that still causes you to have like the the spiking of blood or the lowering of blood sugar, spiking of insulin at night, then usually I'll start to add in a little bit of fat, go like 5 grams of fat, 10 grams of fat, 50, until we stop that, and then you have a good night's sleep. And that's without this is also without supplementation. So I'm not telling people to start taking magnesium and all this stuff. So um, yeah.
all right. How do we feel about answering some questions? I got some questions asked of us.
What is have you told that to uh your coach?
Yeah, I just sent him the blood work and everything this morning. He hasn't responded back yet, but I'm assuming there's going to be some diet changes coming back. So I want to kind of get it out there so I could kind of talk with you guys about it. But no, since I just had the blood test on Monday, I got the results mostly back this morning. There's 1 or 2 tests that are remaining that are still kind of floating out there, but
Eh,
I did tell
But
him.
how much weight have you gained in the past 120 days? Like,
120 days, I'm probably up about 30 pounds.
yeah,
Oh,
and see
wow.
that also changes everything too. You know, it's like people think that okay, like I'm a nurse and so I know what to do. I know what to tell you. Well, the problem is you're a nurse for like everyday people. Bodybuilders are so different, and when you have so much lean tissue and then you have exogenous hormones, molecules in your body, I'm like, dude, it gets tricky, and it's really one of those things like trial and error, and unfortunately, that's where it is. And then so probably, um, geez, Ben probably has had this problem come by him before, so he's like, okay, this might work.
No, I'm sure I'll have some things to say about it
Yeah.
and some things to fix. But no, I kind of want to kind of put it out there because I'm sure there are other people out there in the universe who deal with high blood sugars too. So just know that insulin isn't, or Lantus isn't the fix all just because you have a high blood sugar. There's other things that can, you try to kind of almost just masking the problem. It's not actually fixing the insulin sensitivity issue.
Joey, have
If
you
that's the
yes thought about
if
putting a
that's the case,
CGM on?
oh, what?
I have not put a CGM on if that's what you're asking, Mike.
Yeah,
No,
If
I've never used one.
yeah,
if
maybe.
Lantis was an answer, then Dave Palumbo would have it all figured out. You know what I mean?
Uh,
But he does have that lady that's a type 1 diabetic, and again, it doesn't mean okay, I'll stop. Okay.
okay. So,
Uh,
Mike, you had some questions for
Yeah,
us?
let's say, how about some simple questions? So here's one. If you don't regularly take supplements, what would you recommend starting out with?
Well, I
So
think at least for me, kind of the big ones would be creatine, omega 3s, and some sort of, I think also a good hydration supplement. Not necessarily because people are low on electrolytes, but they normally taste good. And so many people are chronically dehydrated, I feel like. I mean, at my office, I have my big water jug. But most of my coworkers, they fill up these little 10-ounce cups and they go through like two or three across an 8 or 9 hour workday. Like, put some flavor in there and you'll want to be drinking all day. So I think those are kind of
Yeah.
the three that I would recommend right off the bat.
Yeah.
Andrew, Andrew, where do you fall on this?
Well, if this is just, I would love to have more variables. Like what is this person looking for? But if we're looking at just like regular health,
I'll tell you, this person is into running a lot.
okay. And do they eat clean already, or they not manage their diet and they eat processed foods?
I,
And
I would say, yeah, reasonably clean, yes.
yeah, okay, yeah. So I would do definitely a hydration product with a higher amount of sodium. I would take I would take creatine. It's kind of dumb not to anymore. A multivitamin is always safe. Something with methylated B vitamins and a good amount of vitamin D in there, so you have it all together. And then magnesium, and I would probably stick with magnesium malate for runners.
Okay. No, I kind of agree. I think assuming, yeah, the protein intake is not a challenge, yeah, make sure that you're hitting your protein. So if you're not hitting protein, yeah, supplement with, yeah, whey or, something
See,
along those lines.
I don't even consider it a supplement. Really. I know most people do, but I just guys, it's a food source. It's just like drinking a glass of milk.
I get you. Yeah, I get you. But it's sold in supplement stores.
Yeah,
But I agree. I think creatine, yeah, is almost a no-brainer. But I do think the vast majority of people are under on their D and magnesium. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Before, so I would go to, vitamin D for sure with, K2, a combo. That should just be a no-brainer. These days, and then, the magnesium before I would even consider even, the multi, vitamin and those
yeah.
sort
And
of.
Also, just throwing it out there, if you're looking at some maybe less traditional supplements, I think Redo is fantastic for almost everyone in some way. Even if you're not
yeah,
trying to lose weight, I think it's good on so many blood work metrics.
yeah.
Yeah, I have to admit, Loretta does has significantly piqued my interest.
Oh, well,
Just
okay. So
it just needed to be legal.
yeah. Oh, no, they can not legalize it for a couple more years. I'm fine.
I buy some more Eli Lilly stock.
Yeah, just give me some time. Um, this dude. So I just went to the dentist yesterday. Now I have receding gum lines, and it's genetic, right? And my teeth, there's like the gums just have issues, right? The receding gum lines that causes like gingivitis very easily. So I go to the dentist and get cleanings every 3 to 4 months, and I chew ice, everything that you shouldn't do, right? And so like they are very like on top of me of saying, hey, like you need to stop chewing ice. You have receding gum lines. You need to make sure you do a water pick and all this stuff. I have some like pharmaceutical grade fluoride toothpaste that I use once a week.
Hey,
Um,
no fluoride
but
allowed. That kills gains.
Yeah, it does.
yeah, if I take it out, I'm gonna have messed up teeth like the English in the UK. Um, so this one that I went to though, they were checking my teeth, and I usually have sensitivity like really bad because the receding gum lines it starts to expose your roots, and so they were looking at possibly giving me like skin grafting, right? That's the way that you would fix it. So I went in for the cleaning. All of a sudden, they're like, your gums are like growing back,
Oh
and
wow.
I have zero sensitivity, and like my gum health is like immaculate. And I haven't changed my dental hygiene at all. And they're like, whatever you're doing, keep doing. The only thing I've done
Better.
repetitively and consistently is Retta. And Retta and Mott C. I've been doing a lot more Mott C, but Retta, I dude, does it help with like regeneration of all organs? Right? So I'm just putting it out there. If someone has receding gum lines, you might want to give Retta a try, a very low dose, because they were confused. They were very amazed. Same thing with my eye doctor, my optometrist. I have some like little things in my eyes, and they're
Floaters,
gone now.
floaters. Yeah, floaters.
Uh, yeah, they're floaters, and he said they're like hemorrhages, and the hemorrhages are gone. So
That's
I'm like,
interesting.
yeah, my vision
The
still sucks,
petit,
but
the petechial hemorrhaging is usually something diabetics have. Yeah, in their
yeah,
eyes.
yeah, and it's gone, which is nuts. So I'm just saying, like Retta, it's blowing my mind the more and more I use it and I have people use it. But
And
I
just
don't
for
know,
those who are using it, or listening, you've already mentioned it, but you're 1 milligram
every 7 days,
seven
a
every
bolus.
7 days.
I do not believe in microdosing. It's not meant to be that way. If bodybuilders are saying to do microdosing, then they should be the people actually developing these drugs because it takes a very smart person to develop drugs and they're developed for a specific reason and a specific timing protocol. The same reason why GH should be taken sub-Q is not because of compliance for fat individuals and people. It's there's a mechanism at which the peptide can survive um, in a non-acidic space. So we need to follow some pamphlets of these pharmaceutical drugs, and it's meant to have a bolus effect. It's meant to have a peak and a trough.
So is
The
the
microdosing, it seems like it's going to burn out your pancreas.
is the half-life, 7 days on
It's
red?
like 10 days or something like that. It's like
10 days.
7 to 10 days, but that depends also on the person, like how fast they metabolize things.
Metabolizing it. Okay.
Yeah, but that's
I,
just my opinion, and I know there's now data coming out saying it might not be a good idea to do microdosing. So,
Well, I
but
should stop doing that then, I guess.
I don't believe in it, and like there's a lot of things, um, yeah, just there's a lot of pharmaceutical things that people do that I'm like, well, there's really smart people that created these drugs, like really smart, and they're not, they're just the creators. They're not the pharmaceutical guys pushing it. They're not the businessmen. They're just the nerds in the lab that are like, this is cool. This might change the world. And all I want to do is get a Nobel Peace Prize. And then they get that ripped away from them from some CEO. And,
all right. Got more questions. Yeah, if we're interested. So
yeah.
this one's going to be an interesting one. How do you know how soluble vitamins are to ensure you get the most out of your vitamins?
I
That's an
trust
Andrew
people.
question, not a me.
I trust people in the industry.
So one thing, right?
um,
Obviously, you have to get a good source. Yeah, yeah, for vitamins. And there's plenty of them, out there. Yeah, I think
some
an
of them by
argument.
nature, some of them by nature are soluble, water soluble, and lipid soluble. So, that's. But I don't know how you like. I don't know like what does it mean like digestion wise? Like, are you absorbing them? I mean, you would just look in your
Yeah,
stools.
I would think it's the preparation. Obviously, yeah,
Yeah.
the water soluble ones, yeah, especially the B, vitamins, B6, B12. I think, yeah, you'll see in your urine, right? So you should see some increased, yeah, coloration. But the one thing I will say, just in the vitamins in general, because they are right water soluble and fat soluble. There is an argument that can be made in breaking them up and not taking a multivitamin as an all-in-one. There are some, minerals or that can and will compete and are best taken away from each other, to maximize their availability. So and that's probably a much longer, deeper conversation that I'm not yeah too up on, but I do know there are some elements and that do compete with each
Yeah.
other when taking a in a single bolus. So that's something to be mindful about. But I think in general, a multi just a good idea as a yeah, just a safety stuff. Shouldn't rely on them. But yeah,
Yeah. I would just say keep a multi that has a low calcium. Calcium seems to be a disruptor in a lot of things. And then it just has a good balance of zinc and copper.
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I guess what is it? Copper gets depleted with too much zinc, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, pay attention, yeah, to the copper. Yeah, amounts. Yeah, yeah, I avoid, for instance, multis, that have iron, in them and calcium. Uh, so I went through about, it wasn't, the vitamin necessarily, but I am appears, a little bit more sensitive to iron overload. So yeah, because of that reason, I avoid, multivitamins that have iron, in them. Okay, this is a good
The
one.
other the other thing about that too, though, I would just also avoid taking like huge amounts of zinc. It can create biofilms on viruses. It can be hard to break down. So then you have to take something to break down biofilms like neem or turmeric and stuff. But then also like for kids and pediatrics nutrition, um, having them drink a lot of milk all the time, it's going to be bad because it seems to lower iron and phosphorus because of the increased amount of calcium during those early stages. So you need to combat that with eating more red meat, and not really so much spinach because you want the heme iron and you don't want the non-heme iron. If you do tons and tons of spinach, from all the blood work I've seen from vegans and such, the more non-heme iron that they take in, the body thinks that it's getting iron, so it dumps iron or dumps red blood cells, like it tries to lower production, but it's not real iron and it can't be utilized. So then they
It can
end
be
up
used.
having becoming anemic by eating too much spinach. And this is just some people who don't have meat in their diet, but I would just say like that's really something to look at, especially if you have kids. Like just try to avoid tons of milk.
All right, I got one more question. Joe, you like this one? I think. What is your ideal workout split for the week?
Of course, that's gonna really vary person to person what the ideal one would be. But I think just if you're taking the average of the population, it would be something like, and again, this is someone who's willing to work out on weekends. It's not just like, okay, I'll work out Monday to Friday, I want the weekends off. It'd be something along the lines of a heavy leg day on Monday and maybe a push day on Tuesday, take Wednesday off, maybe a heavy hamstring day on Thursday, a shoulder day on Friday, and an optional arms session on Saturday. That way, you're getting, to me, the way I'm kind of thinking about that is legs are going to be more taxing than an upper body day. So putting them before them in the kind of in the sequence of things will allow you to give full effort to them so it's not hitting them when you're already kind of centrally fatigued. I think for the average person, about a 5 day a week split is going to be really good. You go down to four, no issues, but I think five, it's a decent spot that your average person can recover from. It has to be like a 5 day a week split. You're avoiding chest on Monday, so that you can actually get a bench when you want one on Tuesday. You're splitting up hamstring and quads because you don't want to be doing four upper body days in one leg day. And you have kind of a fun day for arms in there where if you have a busy weekend with family, you can take it off and not be too stressed about it. And it's going to be at the end of it, since it's not going to be a super taxing day, it's going to be easier to hit it after you've already been working out 2 days before it. That's kind of the way my brain works. Excuse me. Something like maybe like two heavy compounds and four accessory lifts per day. Maybe go up to 3 and 3 if you're feeling ambitious. That's kind of where my brain goes. And then I think just like a baseline 20 to 30 minutes of cardio a day should be in every adult humans plan. It doesn't have to be crazy hit cardio, but doing something to get your heart rate elevated every day, I think is important.
What is your current split right now?
My current split, uh, I'm working out every other day, so it'd be quads off, push off, hamstrings off, pull off. So I'm someone who I can run my kind of my central nervous system into the ground easier than the average person, just because I am taking those sets to full failure. So no matter how many anabolics I put in, the muscles may recover, but if I'm not able to mentally give it full effort,
Hmm.
it's not going to be a productive session. So I'd rather be able to go in and work hard and then recover the next day.
Okay.
That's
Andrew,
the
how
way
about
I
you?
do it.
Me? Oh man, mine's all messed up. So, I do uh, legs, then a plyometrics day, arms and shoulders, back, plyometrics day, chest, plyometrics day, and then I start over. 7 days a week.
Okay.
Are the plyometric days, are they like Olympic lifting? Are they box jumps? What's a plyometric day in your split?
So like we'll go to we have a Sienna stadium near my house, and so I'll go and do sprints. I'll do like lateral movements, pretty much anything that you would do track and field and like
Okay.
soccer and such. So just a lot of jumping and such. Yeah. Jumping and sprinting. Yeah.
So kind of a bit more of an athletic, not necessarily a
Right.
muscle building day.
Rotational movements. Yeah, it's pretty much just
Okay.
all that. So it's
The
because it's
things I
not
don't
too
do.
taxing. Well, I'm starting the reason why is because there's this guy Zach, and you'll see him on Alpha Land page. He used to be a running back for Oklahoma, and I was like, man, I was like, he said that he went to a stadium in Siena. I was like, where is it at? Because I live in there, and so he started doing all that stuff, and I'm like, well, freak, man, like you're wanting me to do all this, so I'm trying to keep up with him.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I guess, a fan of, or I guess, yeah, philosophically, yeah, I fall into the camp that frequency, does matter. Yeah. So trying to hit body parts as often, as possible. So I think for the average, gym, goer, an upper lower split, would, work well, for them. Yeah. So, upper lower, day off, upper lower, weekend off, and restart, or you can do another, upper lower session. I wouldn't go into the, push pull, necessarily. Yeah. Yeah. Till, yeah, you want to, put more emphasis and more volume in a particular, part. I think the upper lower gives you, the frequency and the time savings, from, a workout session, you know, you know, to follow. So I guess that would be,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said that's not the split that I follow necessarily. So, I do a legs, I mean, modified legs push pull. And the modified part is, on my push day I will do, on my push day I will do, biceps, and on my pull day I will do triceps, shoulders, on both days. And then, on my leg days, one I will start with quads. The second one I will start with, hamstrings. And it's asynchronous, meaning that, I run, legs push pull off, legs push pull off, legs push pull, off, continue. So I don't have
Yeah.
set days, where they're off. I have found, for me and my recovery, when I am deep into a cut, very deep, it would be, I would do two on, one off, two on, one off. Yeah, needing an extra day to recover and space things out just a smidge more. Yeah, and that gave me enough recovery to be able to hit it with the level of intensity that I want to.
I've tried doing kind of the 3 day in a row and then 1 day off, and I couldn't recover from it. It was something where, at least at the time, it was like a legs push off, legs pull off. So it'd be like twice as many leg days as upper body days. That could have been contributing to it, but
Yeah,
I was just I could run it for like a couple of weeks, but then joints would be hurting. I pulled an adductor. I wouldn't be as excited to go to the gym. I would be getting sick. It'd be kind of all this stereotypical things of, yeah, you're overtraining there. So
yeah.
maybe I
Legs
just have
definitely.
maybe I just have a low volume threshold. But whenever I'm, like you said, hitting something twice every week, I can't keep up with it long term.
Yeah, legs
And
by
I'm just a bit of a
far.
wuss.
Yeah, do fry. My CNS. I mean, oftentimes, and I think we spoke about this. Yeah, offline where I sit in the changing room and I'm like contemplating life choices on a leg day, and then on my way home when I go to sleep I'm so fried. But yeah, seem to recover with that spacing if I'm well fed as well, and sleep is on point, which by and large those check boxes are being checked off. But I think for an upper lower day for the busy person, would serve them well to ensure that frequency is being touched on, which is pretty it has been shown to be fairly important in trying to burn muscle. The
Only
frequency.
really the big thing I have against upper lower is maybe it's just me that I am taking too long in the gym, but usually I like to hit like one or two kind of warm up touch sets before I actually hit a working weight. And if I were to do that for every body part in the upper body, if I was doing like two
Yeah,
touches for chest, two touches for shoulders, two touches for triceps, two touches for lats, two touches for rhomboids, it would just take me like 4 hours to get through a workout.
yeah,
Yeah.
Even if the working sets worked out to be the same number per day, I have to take so many more warm ups. It would just be unreasonable how long I would be in the gym. Again, maybe that's a me problem that I take too long between sets, but
Yeah.
I would be
no,
in the gym for 3 to 4 hours when I did an upper body day.
I,
yeah.
I
I,
think
I'm
when you see guys that do that, I think they have a lot of imbalances and a lot of weak muscle groups, and so like you might I like watching people in the gym. I think it's the guys that have the huge chest, big anterior delts, and then they have zero rear delts. Like their back is thin and flat, but they might be wide. I just think they lack a lot of focus on specific body parts. You can't do everything upper with the same intensity on the same day.
I agree. Yeah, and if you were doing upper lower, I would definitely rotate. Restart chest, start back. Yeah, on the alternate day. But Joey, I'm with you. I think my sessions average 2 hours. Yeah, and I will not compromise. On the rest. Between sets. Yeah, I need to be ready to execute on that next set. The way I want to. And that's why I don't work out during yeah yeah the weekdays in the morning, because I don't want to have the anxiety of having to go to work. I want my session to be how I want it to be. If it's going to take me 2 hours, so be it. I don't want it. The session to
I
suffer because I need to get to work.
I worked out with a buddy last week doing legs together, and I mean I outweigh him by a good 60 pounds, but so I had two or three plates on every exercise more than he was doing, but he was just moving so fast that I was the one who puked, not him. Just because it's like okay, I took my set, now I'm spawning you, and then I'm immediately into my set. I'm like, I can't breathe.
Yeah,
I'm dying over here.
yeah, that's not fun for me.
So
Yeah,
we did
That's
like leg curls, Rogers hip press, pendulum. Then we were walking over to the extension. I was like, I feel it coming on. I'll be back in a minute. Gotta go to the bathroom so I'm not puking in a gym I'm on a guest pass on.
yeah. Like Samson, the way he trains, yeah, and how he balances, supersets on things, that would not be my preference. Yeah.
Nope, absolutely
Yes.
not.
Running from station to station, supersetting, yeah, is not how I would prefer to work out.
you don't want to work out with me.
Is that how you do it?
Yeah, I'm just
I
like
already don't want to. I don't want to do running and jumping and athletic movements.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
will say, yeah, having watched some of Joey's videos, yeah, I feel pretty good. I'm like, oh man, I can almost keep up with him. So you only have to maybe strip one plate on a hack. I think you're doing four and a half plates.
yep.
Yeah, yeah, on the hack. I think okay, you can
yeah,
almost
4 to 5. Yeah.
yeah, depending on the machine.
Yeah. Um hey, someone asked me, do you remember what your first supplement that you took, like your sports supplement that you took?
I do. Outside of like,
And how old were you?
okay, so the first like powder supplement that I used was my sophomore year of college, actually. So I was 19. Someone left behind a 95% empty Mr. Hyde tub from like pro sups. It was like left on the gym counter because it was pretty much empty. So I was watching, I was like, okay, no one's touched it for a week and it's still there. I'm just taking it. And
Mhm.
so I took the powder supplement. I was like, oh, I'm tingling. So then I progressed on to buying like the Redcon Total War because Brian Shaw was sponsored by them and I liked watching his videos. But the very first supplement I ever had was actually delicious. It was our high school football coach got us some goodies from Gatorade. It was their protein shakes and protein bars that were like 400 calories each. And in order to leave the weight room, we had to walk and get one of each from him. So it was probably like a cool 750 calories just slammed after a workout. But those were so good. Looking at the nutrition facts now, I would never want to have one on any kind of calorie restricted diet. But oh boy, did they taste good and make you want to eat them.
The Gatorade bars are actually not bad. So yeah, Andrew, I know yeah, you're younger. Yeah, yeah, your sons are playing soccer. So on many soccer tournaments, yeah, Gatorade is they're sponsoring, and we used to have protein bars galore. For the kids. Yeah, for free. Those are actually not too bad.
We would have like we would say at the school bus stop waiting to get picked up. We would be like, okay, I would get one bar and one shake. Do you want to trade your bar for my shake so I get two bars and you get two shakes? So it's all kind of like the trades going on, and I still think that was the best tasting protein shake I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. I bet it was like Nesquik.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So my first, gosh, dang it, because yeah, notably older than you guys. So what I remember was the original Medrex
Mhm.
powder, meals, and then there was a drink that had pretty sure, yeah, it just had boron in it. Yeah, yeah, as it's magic, yeah, ingredient. But yeah, the original Medrex, yeah, meals, were it's my very first supplement, and that was in
Yeah.
the 90s.
Um, Yeah, this question brought me back because I'm like, there's so many things that were like kind of new. I remember the first weight gainer I tried was the Champion something, the Champion 2000 or something. And then the first protein powder was Designer Whey, and they had chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, and strawberry tasted like gasoline. The first, my brother started taking hydroxycut back when I had ephedra in it,
Yeah.
and I took some of that, and I must have been so like my first supplement use was whenever I was in middle school. So I got like started taking ephedra in middle school, and I had like because that was back in the day with the ABB, the
Yeah.
blue thunders or something. Um,
Those were lightning bombs.
yeah, and then my first pre-workout was Ultimate Orange that I took. So again, like middle school. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
ABVs were high octane, yeah, energy drinks, yeah, back then.
dude, those are
High
such good
octane.
days. Oh, I love them, and
Yeah,
I just
I'm surprised there is actually not more of those metal screw can, yeah, tops like the
I don't know.
ABVs, yeah, yeah, out in the market. Yeah, that was such a more convenient way to deliver, yeah,
And they're not
an
plastic, they're
energy
not
drink.
glass.
No, they
Like,
were
you know, it's
aluminum.
just yeah, I loved them.
Are like the
Man.
24-ounce monsters screw caps? Like
Well,
Yes,
the
these are a
big
little bit different.
monsters? Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, so they were actually like the ABBs were like a bottle, like on a 2 liter bottle, is like that, but
oh,
bigger.
oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is an actual screw cap on. So like, I mean, they were kind of indestructible. Like you wouldn't really have them leak that much, maybe every now and then. But I mean, the fact that it's metal and we switched to plastic and now these cartons that just bend and fold.
yeah.
Um,
So Joe, you've seen like the Total War RTDs and yeah, the
Yep.
ARN RTDs. They were slightly bigger, yeah, in size, but yeah, they were all aluminum and with an aluminum screw top.
Ooh.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, I was super young whenever I started taking supplements, and then since then I was always like curious. But my grandma and grandpa, they were more like health oriented people, so like everything was life extension back then. So like they
Mm.
started giving me my supplements because I had like an autoimmune disease. So they're like, take this, you know. It's like there's just I don't even know what I took. But for sure whatever was popular back in the early 90s. So
if we're counting those, my first supplement was the gummy vitamins from Flintstones.
if I say
Ah,
Flintstones.
Those were good.
had a lot of those from the 80s.
Yeah. Um, okay. You want to do one more?
Let's do one
One
more.
more, one
And then I got
more.
to eat a meal.
So
Yeah,
you gotta eat.
me too. Um, okay. Um, here we'll do a food one. Do you eat fruits and veggies in every meal? And also, do you have some that you stay away from?
I personally have some sort of fruit or vegetable in every meal. In my pre and post workout, it's kind of starchier ones like dates or bananas, but I do have some sort in every single meal. I, it doesn't feel like a meal if I'm just eating meat and rice, or just protein powder and cream of rice with no blueberries in it.
Yeah. Do you stay away from any?
Uh, Not for like I haven't had like broccoli or cauliflower or the kind of the real crunchy vegetables for the past kind of year or two, just for digestion reasons. I still like them. I'm sure they're fine when you're dieting, but
Yeah.
when you're kind of growing up for more like the green beans that kind of sit a little bit easier. But for fruits, I really hate bananas so much. I eat
Dude,
them
you're so
still, but
wrong. You're so wrong.
I hate bananas. Just like I have to wait until I finish the rest of my meal and then I eat the banana. Because if I eat the banana first, I can't finish the meal.
I eat the bananas just because of the shape. Uh,
See, the shape excites me personally, but
hey. Dip it in some chocolate. You're good.
So cut back on your test. But yeah,
uh,
I don't. I'm not religious necessarily. So, well, my first and third last meals always have fruit. So my first meal, I'm so stupidly routine tends to be a a bowl of oats with dark chocolate, 100% cocoa powder, and then I put strawberries into that. And then my last meal tends to have blueberries with it. In between, I will do uh, often mixed greens and cherry tomatoes in a lot of my meals.
I haven't had
Um,
cherry tomato in a while.
and I like, uh, cherry tomatoes. I can, just eat just by themselves. So does that count as a fruit or a vegetable?
Fruit.
It's a vegetable in mine. Technically, it's a fruit. It's a vegetable. I'm good for about 10 of them. After 10, it's start getting too acidic for me.
Not the cherry tomato, the baby tomatoes. They're not, man. They stay, just the right level of sweetness. So, my stupid thinking, is I often have them post workout in my post workout meal. So I will have cream of rice with either ground beef or or chicken breast,
And
and then
tomatoes.
tomatoes, in
Do you
there.
mix the tomatoes in the cream of rice?
Yeah, oh yeah, afterwards, yeah.
Oh, actually, I was joking.
No, I do. Yeah, I do. So it's cinnamon,
Oh,
lots of mustard, and I go through an ungodly amount of yellow mustard.
yep.
I mean, ungodly amount.
If
But
I'm
yeah,
traveling somewhere, I get the Costco pack of yellow mustard because it goes on everything. Like any kind of travel meal or anything, yeah, I'm
so
using yellow mustard. So I get like the big Costco ones whenever I go anywhere.
you and I like those Belinda sauces. So
We
I would,
do.
yeah. If I'm flying somewhere, first stop is always Walmart. To get the chickens, the greens, the tomatoes, and I will get Belinda sauce, and then I will get either yellow mustard or this spicy chipotle mustard. But Belinda sauce usually is when I'm traveling, for the extra flavor.
The Melindas I keep at home because if I'm using them while traveling, it gets too expensive because I go through the little bottles too fast. I need to get
Yeah,
like the half gallons to keep me economical.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I like the sauces, but it takes me at least a couple of weeks to go through a half gallon. So I
So the
can't just like
Belinda
ship
sauce,
one there.
I haven't been able to find the Belinda sauce in the big, gallon jug
You
anymore.
got to order it
Uh,
online.
Their website.
I
It's
think I
like
go direct to them.
24.99. So
Yeah,
you
I
buy
don't
a
care.
you buy two.
Yeah, I just pour it in a squeeze bottle.
That's what I
Yeah,
do.
Yeah.
yeah,
I refill like a food service squeeze bottle at my house, where I bring like an old one, an old small container with me to work, and I just leave it there and I refill it as I need to.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, those
Love
half
that
gallons are the
stuff.
way to go. Oh, so good.
So do you stay away from any veggies or fruits? Like they just don't either taste good or mess your digestion up?
I do like broccoli, but it will bloat me. So I tend to avoid broccoli. Um, no, there isn't too many things. Yeah, I like squash, especially if it's like grilled. There aren't too many things that I will avoid, but yeah, I try to keep it simple.
Durian,
Yeah.
Oh, oh,
durian.
it's the worst. Man, they messed up a whole thing of apples for me. I hate it. Um, yeah. So I do have either fruits or veggies in all my meals. Usually don't really combine them together that often, just because it does cause some like digestive issues if I combine them. But any veggies I eat, they're all cooked. So even if it's lettuce, like I
Yeah.
warm it up. Same thing like with tomatoes. If you heat them up on a pan, it's going to release more polyphenols. But I don't eat tomatoes. I do not like tomatoes. So that's the one that I do not prefer. And then I don't with fruits, man. I hate guava because it smells like cat pee, and for sure durian. um, but then like veggies, I'm pretty much fine with everything except for like bitter leaves. Like I'm not the biggest fan of bitter leaves. And I'll throw in
Like,
potatoes. Even
Radicchio
yeah,
surprised me.
uh,
I thought it was like red cabbage, and I took a bite, and it was not red cabbage. It was radicchio, and it was so
collard
bad.
yeah,
collard greens, are fairly
nah,
bitter also.
yeah. I don't do
Uh,
kale and all that. Nah.
They can
And I
be
don't do
good
any.
if you not, if you actually, yeah, obviously, yeah, growing up, yeah, Greek, yeah, my mom actually used to go and harvest that stuff, yeah, and yeah, just well, and bring it back. But if you prepare it with citrus, yeah, so lemon and or vinegar, it does cut down on that bitterness, yeah, significantly, and then butter makes everything better.
I just feel
that's
like it's trying
cheating.
to destroy me. I feel like it's trying to like beat me up whenever I'm swallowing it. Like even if I cook it down, I'm like, kale, you're just taking my esophagus out.
Yep.
Um, but I'll throw in potatoes in there. I do not like potatoes. I don't like French
Really,
fries. I don't like mashed potatoes. Yeah,
man,
man.
what's the matter with you,
I tried to add in potatoes and sweet potatoes whenever I was dieting, and I couldn't get it down. And no,
man? Potatoes, those mini yellow potatoes with ground beef. Oh, that's
like
so
I'll cook
good.
them, but like I'll make smashed potatoes, like smashed whatever that's called. Like you boil them and smash them and put them on the
Put them in the
flat
oven.
iron.
Yeah, yeah.
But like I can't eat them. I don't know.
Have you put pineapple with your chicken meals?
Oh yeah.
Oh
I have
yeah,
pineapple in 3 meals a day. My chicken and my beef meals.
Yeah, so good, so good.
yeah.
Pineapple.
Yeah, when my wife is like, "Hey, we're about to go do whatever," and she's like, "Make sure you eat some pineapple," and I'm like, "You know it." Uh, but um, anyways, all right, we'll leave it there. I can feel my blood sugar dropping. All right. With this time next week.
I'll be
Sure
here.
thing. All right,
Uh,
gentlemen.